I've been walking for about an hour. A little bit downhill now, so maybe I went over the first hill. I had a coughing kind of fit or issue around midnight last night, similar to the night before. Rufus also did, right around that time. I found that I would have stopped coughing if I was sitting erect on my knee. So I did that for about 15 minutes. And then I was able to lay on my stomach, and I didn't have a problem there. It's an interesting tree. How these trees keep standing in the high winds when all the other ones fall down. Anyway, sorry for that interruption. The guy I was following, he stopped at this interesting looking tree for a break. And I went up and wanted to get a little film of it, but too close. Anyway, as I was saying, coughing fit and laying on my tummy and finally being able to generally fall asleep. The slope of the pad kind of made it a little awkward. At one point I heard a small animal, maybe a porcupine or something like that, outside the tent, but I didn't see it. Wasn't anything to worry about. I did stick my head out and look up at the stars at one point during the night, and the trees that are very much like, bare branches were black against a slightly lighter black, and then there were all the bright stars, and they looked like they were attached to the trees in a way. It was really cool. I tried to take a couple photos with the iPhone or video in case it would catch anything, but it was completely black. Definitely needed a more professional camera to do a longer exposure. Anyway, it's beautiful. Yeah, Rufus, when he came into camp, he came in quite late. I don't know if I mentioned or talked about it, but apparently he threw up twice on the trail. He was pretty sure it was something to do with that buffet, but I don't know, I think my problem was about the cough and really not the buffet. And I ate what he ate. But anyway, his belief is it's the buffet. And at one point anyway, he actually considered turning around and going back to Fontana because he was feeling so awful. But in the end, he sojourned on and he got into camp quite late, but he got in. Seemed okay this morning. I did pick up a pack to move it at one point and found it incredibly heavy compared to mine. So that and all the sweating he's doing, he's really putting in a lot more effort than I have to. And that might be one reason why I go up the hills a lot faster. Why he goes down the hills a lot faster. Anyway, we're going in, I think it's called Spence or something, shelter. 11 point something miles today. Something about Rufus, I'll say, oh, it's about 12 miles, and I said, oh, you said it was 11 point something. I go, well, yeah, around 11.75, 12. Anyway, it's going to be a longer day. Just 3 hills. I've completed the first one. In a little while, start up the second one, and then the third one. And they're all about equally height. I think the third one might be a little longer, but we don't go all the way to the top before we get the shelter. And having the tent, I'm not worried about sleeping inside in this weather, so no problem there. And no wind. It's not hot yet. But if you walk in the sun for any length of time, I guess I'll have to put some lotion on. I don't want to get a burned neck again and burned arms, although typically the sun would be behind me. It's still morning, so I guess I'm walking east right at the moment. A lot of people were already broken from camp when we left, or breaking up. And it's always the question about how early you start. And when Rufus let the air out of his air mattress, it's like the universal signal that, okay, time to roll. So that's what I did. Anyway, I'll stop for lunch, and that would probably be a little more than halfway, and have some cheese and pepperoni again to get rid of that weight. And hopefully there'll be a view. See you then. Here at the first shelter, a couple of people just leaving said that about 30 minutes ago there were about half a dozen deer just hanging around here as people were still packing up and leaving. I haven't seen the person who owns the one packing there. Maybe they're at the bathroom and went to get water, but still 6 miles to go, so I'll just take a little break here, try to dry off the sweaty back, and maybe I'll even pull something out to eat. I don't know. It's just 10:30, or not even that, so a little while to go, and there are all these little bugs floating around. Same type of thing we had where we camped last night. I thought it might have been because of the humid or dampness of the creek that we were at, but and I thought maybe at more elevation, and when did they be gone? But they're here, so I have to put some insect repellent on maybe. I don't know if that will keep them away. They just keep buzzing around your face. Oh, buggers. While at the shelter, I met the person with the pack that hadn't left yet. She was a woman I saw at Fontana, shelter there, so I guess she's going pretty slow, still hasn't left. More people came, she kept sitting there and chatting with everybody. One guy recognized me from top of Georgia. I didn't quite recall him. And the guy with the dog caught up just as I was getting ready to leave. It's a beautiful day, still cool. I'm on the last descent. The next descent will be to the shelter. That's in probably 5.5 miles. I think in about 2.5 miles is the next shelter that I'll be walking by. If I wasn't walking with Rufus, I'd be tempted even to go perhaps to the 4th shelter. But I don't know, I'll see how I feel when I get to the 3rd one. And starting tomorrow it'll be a lot flatter or more level, not any great elevation changes. And I think we'll get a lot further in the course of a day. talking with the people that I had lunch here with today. There have been the deer that were at the previous shelter. There are the 2 wild boar that I saw, and a mother bear and her cub, all on the same day. So the hills are alive. Just 3 more miles to the next shelter. I think it's mostly uphill though. Like 1 o'clock now. Probably start off. I just filled up my water bottles. Had to have a bit of electrolyte powder in one of them, the flavoring, which helped. But what was I thinking there? Oh yeah, when I look at the shoulder pads on the pack, and you can see all this white, and you realize, well, that's the salt from all the sweat. So I think at the next place where we stay overnight, if possible, I will try to launder my bag so that I can clear out some of the salt and probably odors that are going to be building up in the shoulder straps, and maybe a couple of straps or the parts that are on the back, the little bit of padding that runs vertically. And it would be nice to get that baby wipe and wash my face because I have all that sweat all over it. You can shake your head and water comes off, and it's on my shirt. And you realize that when you get to camp. And I forgot to brush my teeth last night or this morning, so I definitely have to take care of that. Hygiene and some athlete foot stuff cream for my feet. I haven't put that on for a couple of days, and I should take care of that. Hygiene goes out the window a lot. I had to poop in the woods earlier today, took care of that. And here's some people coming, so maybe now's time to start moving on. Fill up the water. A little bit down the hill. Is it? If you got water, keep going, I think.
Yeah, I've got water. What's your name again?
Great Scott.
Great Scott. I'm Danny.
Danny?
I don't have a real trail name yet. There's a bunch floating around.
You don't like any of them?
I like all of them.
What are some of them?
Copper. Asher calls me Copper. I gave her a copper knee brace, and she loves me for that. So she calls me Copper. Some of the guys call me Butterfingers because I tend to drop things when I'm drunk. And I liked Butterfly because I was trying to think of a trail name, and a butterfly literally hit me in the face. Literally. And so I told the guys that I was thinking about Butterfly, and they're like, no, Butterfingers. I left my poles, just walked off without them.
Oh, I did that one day. Yeah, had to go back half an hour.
Same. I've got this a thing in my head. Someday I will find out what is the non-turn back point. Like how many miles are poles worth?
Yeah. More than half an hour, I think.
Yeah, I don't use mine all that often. So
yeah.
Like when it gets really
kind of get used to them all the time. Yeah.
Or when it's like really steep, then I'll pull them out. But most of the time, I mean, it's a good thing they're ultralight, or I might send them home. They have saved my butt on slick rocks.
Yeah. Well, when you're trying to balance, especially on rocks, I find them very helpful. Yeah.
Where did you send your stuff to, by the way? I just remembered we were at the post office,
yeah.
right? Where did you send your stuff?
I have a nephew who lives in Sunnyvale, California.
Oh, that's nice.
So I shipped a couple boxes off to him, and with the idea that if I need them back, then I don't have to worry about them having to cross over the border and customs and delays and all that type of thing.
From?
Well, I'm Canada. I live in Vancouver Island.
Very cool.
Where are you from?
Santa Fe, New Mexico, and Frisco, Colorado.
Oh, okay. Are you in Colorado now, or?
Mostly, yeah. I still have my place in Colorado. I just got rid of my Santa Fe place when I came on this hike. I can't see maintaining 2 rents, but when I get back, when I'm done with this, I will get another Santa Fe place. And my Frisco place, my rent there is just too, I'm just going to keep signing that lease till I can't.
Really?
They gave me amazing rent.
Oh, okay.
It's a roommate situation. I call the guys the party boys, or my landlord calls them party boys, like Hardy boys.
Yeah.
I call them
Party Hardy.
the bromates or the frat boys.
Yeah.
They're grown men, but.
Do you keep commuting between the 2 places, or?
Kinda, yeah. I'm back and forth.
Okay.
Mostly, I'm in Colorado for the snowboard season, but I mean it's really awesome all year. So.
Yeah, I've never been there.
I love
Maybe one day.
it. Summit County, I recommend it highly.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you give me the sunblock too? Wasn't
Nope.
you?
Nope.
Okay. I'm really grateful for that sunblock.
Well, I met the guy with the limping dog, and he's just going 6 mile days, and he's doing a section hike type of thing. So he's not even doing the whole Smoky Mountains. He's just getting out at Gatlinburg, I think, anyway.
Oh,
So,
okay. So he's not going the whole thing.
No, no.
So he's all right.
He's taking very short days, yeah,
All right.
because of the dog. Yeah.
Got it. Does he know about the musher?
Yep. Yep.
Hey, thanks for passing that on to him. And I have some if I need to get it to him. Water source, 1/4 mile.
Oh, it's not that far. I mean, it's just 0.2, and I just walked down. It's
0.2 times 0.2.
like 100 yards or 150 yards maybe, and then
0.2,
you see water there.
0.2 times 0.2 is half a mile.
Yeah, I didn't have any water left. I thought, okay, now I got to walk it, but and I did, but
Easy, Ken.
it's not that far. I mean, there may be official pickup points, but no, it was just like I say, 150 yards down the road.
Oh, there's some water there.
Yeah, on your left, yeah. So, but anyway, just about to head off myself.
First backpacking trip for me.
What was your longest before you did this?
9 miles.
9 miles.
9 miles.
You're shitting me. Quite a difference to bite off all of a sudden.
Oh yes, big difference.
Mine was a week.
Yeah.
A week.
Yeah.
I don't think it's too big of a deal to not have any experience. Like I feel like I've learned just about everything I need to.
Well, I mean, you either learn or you get the hell off the trail, right?
Yeah, basically. A lot of those people have already gone off, right? So. Yeah.
I think it's more the physical conditioning. That's the big part.
I'm still
I think
not
it takes you
conditioned
5
yet.
days just to get used to a trail, in my opinion, carrying it.
5 days?
I bet it takes longer. Take me longer now.
Oh,
It takes me about 5 days to get into the stride.
No, you start. If you start at a level way above me.
I mean, the first 3 days to me is just hell.
Yeah.
After about 5 days, I feel it.
Have you thru-hiked?
What now?
Have you thru-hiked or just big sections?
No, but I've done 400 miles. I mean,
400.
yeah.
Right on.
I've done that multiple times. So
Okay. That's cool.
if I
I ran
decide,
marathons.
what now?
I ran marathons. I thought I was in shape for this, but I was not in shape for this.
Yeah, I don't think any way you can do it. It's just do it. Yeah, I'm a marathon runner. I've ran marathons too, and it's a whole different conditioning in it.
It's still hard for me, man. Like today is 11 miles, but it's still incredibly tough. And I think I've gotten so much stronger. Like my legs do push me up these hills like I've never felt before. But once you hit mile 9, 10, it's like, where's the shelter?
Yeah, I know.
People that have never done this have no idea, and we all probably had the same idea before we started hiking. You know, hiking a mile or walking a mile, running a mile or 5 miles or 10 miles. You know, you think, why is somebody making such a big deal about this?
Yeah.
10 miles up here is a big deal.
It really is.
Yeah, you're
It is a big deal.
thousands of feet up and rocky terrain, roots all over the place.
And I don't
Have you
wanna
done
be that-
anything in the White Mountains?
I rode my motorcycle to the top.
I tell you what, in my opinion, that's tough. That's the toughest part of it.
Really?
No,
In terms of
The
physical,
rock.
like
The
physical
rock.
exertion though?
It's just hard to walk. And I did that presidential route and
Yes.
back through, New Hampshire into Vermont back there. I've done that 100-mile wilderness back in there, and I thought Mount Washington back in that area was just brutal.
Am I wrong to say that it's not much of a 100-mile wilderness anymore?
Is it? It's been a long time since I did that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I've heard that it's a lot more. There's like a lot of roads through
A
it
lot of
now.
roads, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought that Mount Washington area. I mean, the weather changed on me a couple times, but I just did it. I can't remember what time of year I did. But the weather changed several times, and those shelters there, they're real nice. They've got the people that man them. They cook you the meal, and they give you. God almighty, they stink like shit. Because those privies are inside the shelters there, especially that lakes, whatever the name of the
Whoa.
lakes or whatever that one. God almighty, they stink.
That's disgusting.
God, and
Why
I
would
was,
they do that?
shelter?
yeah, they're
Why?
It's like they had three.
Probably
God,
can't tent around
I hope
it.
they've changed that. That one at Madison when I got there had been just rebuilt, and
That
it was
sounds like hell.
beautiful. I mean, it was like a hotel. The bunks were great, but they wanted the land of whatever the lakes or whatever the hell it's called.
Lake of the Hut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, the one right below Washington.
Yeah, I was in the bottom, and it had rained like shit getting up there, and then I was on the bottom bunk, and it was like I might as well have been outside. I mean, it was like a pool of crap down there.
Down in the dungeon or up in the up in the hut?
In the hut.
In the hut.
Yeah.
Did you go down and look at the dungeon?
No, I did not. My dumb ass come out of that trail and turned and went around that mountain as opposed to going down the AT, and like I got around the backside and said, "Fuck, I'm lost." I took the wrong turn. Finally got back to the trail.
Yeah.
Now I didn't go to the dungeon. Is it nasty?
Well, I mean, it wasn't nasty, it just,
It's just.
it was bad. I mean, it was just, for me too, I was, a little bit claustrophobic. It was pretty tight in there. And
What do you mean by a dungeon?
down at that hut, it's like a cellar. You go around the side, about the opposite of where the front door is.
Where is this?
This is, if you're going north, this would be the hut right before you get to Mount Washington.
So what do you go in there?
They have bunks in there.
Yeah, you
You
stay
mean in
there.
the dungeon? When
Yeah,
you talk
they have
down in the
bunks in the
basement?
dungeon.
Because I bet there's 50, 60 beds in those places. There are
Yeah.
tons. Yeah,
And
they're
I'd gone down there and tried to sleep, and man, I mean, I was on the bottom one, like right on the floor, man, I'm a light sleeper, just too many mice and too much snoring and everything else, so I ended up, actually, I tried to sleep outside for a little while, and I went inside and just found a piece of floor and put my pad on the floor and I laid down.
I found up there the best thing is those the cairns. I mean, you can't find a trail. If it wasn't for the cairns, you wouldn't know where the hell you're going up through there. Yeah, so rocky.
Yeah, or sometimes it's very foggy on top and you can't even see the camera.
Yeah, you can't see anything.
Mount Washington.
Are you from that area?
No, I'm from New York.
You from New York?
Close.
Hasn't there
New
been
York City?
like a recorded like 200 mile an hour
Upstate.
wind
Bear
up
Mountain
there?
area. A little upstate, yeah.
There's
Suburb of
a-
New
Do you
York.
have to be careful once you get close to like
Well, it's
checking
just-
the weather?
Well, the thing is, it's just weather dependent if you're going up in presidentials at all,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if the weather gets bad, people just head for the
Tree.
notch, the closest notch you get off the mountain.
Yeah.
And it's so exposed up there.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's pretty terrifying.
bad weather, lightning.
Yeah.
It's just so exposed up here. It's just horrible.
I remember there was a sign, when you left Mount Washington and go down that first hut, there was a sign there, and on a metal signpost, like on the side of the road, just stuck in there. And it said, warning, most unpredictable, weather in the United States, blah, 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 the number of people have died. And the post and the sign looked like it was hit by a beer truck, I said, I guess the weather gets pretty bad if that sign's in that kind of shape. I mean, it got my attention. But we had rain when we first got in there, but then we had beautiful weather all the way through, so we lucked out.
It's a beautiful area, though, isn't it?
Oh, gosh.
God, if you drive up there from Boston, that lake area going up there, oh, it's just gorgeous up through there.
Yeah, it's
Gorgeous.
pretty.
And
I do a lot of business, not a lot, but REI is the only outdoor store that I know of, you know, and.
Me, I know who I